Before the wedding, Victoria Miller and I were in a car accident on the way there. We both survived, but she lost her memory and forgot who I was. The doctor said it might be a response to the profound fear of losing me, causing her mind to block all memories of me. I refused to give up, bringing her old things every day, trying to jog her memory. But when I excitedly brought her the 3,000 paper cranes I had stayed up all night folding, I overheard her and her clique. "You're a master at this, Vicky. Just say you have amnesia, and Sincere Clark believes it. What a great excuse. Think you can use it after you're married, too? Don't be ridiculous. I just wanted to delay the wedding. I won't lie to him anymore. Is that all? What's to be afraid of? Sincere is so in love with you, so what if you never marry him for the rest of your life?" Victoria retorted with a hint of annoyance. "I do still love him. All right, girls, find me some new toy boys. Once I've slept my way through all 12 zodiac signs, I'll get married." I threw the paper cranes I was holding into the trash can and walked away. 1. When our housekeeper, Mrs. Davies, saw me return, utterly dejected, she asked in surprise, "What's wrong? Did Miss Miller still not remember? But this was your most beautiful memory." I gave a bitter laugh. Yes, a beautiful memory. It was a promise Victoria and I made in the first blush of our love. Every time we had a wish, we would fold a paper crane. Once we saved up 3,000, we would get married. It held all the sweetness of our years together, a testament to our love from its innocent beginnings to maturity. The original jar of paper cranes was shattered in the accident. This new jar was the product of 7 sleepless days and nights of folding. Unfortunately, Victoria Miller had no intention of getting married at all. The woman who had so eagerly proposed to me multiple times was now deceiving me like this. I didn't show it to her. I threw it away. Mrs. Davies was even more confused. "But why? Don't you want her to remember you sooner?" Mrs. Davies had watched Victoria grow up and had witnessed our entire relationship. She wanted us to be happy more than anyone. I forced a wry smile. "She wouldn't remember even if she saw it. She won't remember anything." I didn't want to say any more and turned to leave. But Mrs. Davies wouldn't give up. She pulled out her phone right in front of me and dialed Victoria's number. On the other end, when Victoria heard my name, her voice was laced with impatience. "Stop bringing up Sincere Clark. I don't even know him. If he's so heartbroken, he should just go die and stop trying to jog my memory with all this stuff. It's so annoying." The call ended. Mrs. Davies looked at me, her face full of apology. "Sincere, maybe Victoria is still in her recovery period, and her emotions are a bit unstable." I waved my hand, signaling for her to stop. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Victoria. "Stop shamelessly hanging around my house calling yourself my fiancé. I don't acknowledge it. If you have any dignity, you'll move out." Reading the message, I laughed at my own expense. She used to cling to me every day, desperate to marry me. Now I was a pathetic wretch in her eyes. My finger hovered over the screen for a few seconds before I typed a simple reply. "Fine, I'll move out." A moment later, she transferred $500,000 to me with a note. "Good. You know what's best for you. Move out quickly. Don't get in my way. When I remember you, I'll let you come back." I sent the money back to her account without another word. I actually owned another villa in this same neighborhood. I had just never lived in it, and Victoria didn't know it existed. 2. My parents live abroad most of the year and are completely unaware of what's happening back home. They certainly didn't know about Victoria's amnesia charade. When they heard our wedding was canceled, they tentatively asked if I would consider going on some dates. I agreed. Maybe with marriage suitable is good enough. These past few days, Victoria's social media has been a whirlwind of activity. All sorts of men, all sorts of intimate face-to-face photos, updated constantly. I didn't know if she was doing it to provoke me, or if she was simply basking in the vanity of being the center of attention. Either way, I felt nothing. What a person who doesn't love me does is none of my business. My best friend Alex Hayes, seeing I was down, asked me to a bar to take my mind off things. The moment we walked in, I saw her. In the booth next to ours, Victoria was straddling a young man. They were feeding each other drinks, mouth to mouth, oblivious to the world. I silently averted my gaze and sat down next to Alex. Alex looked awkward. I didn't know she'd be here. Should we go somewhere else? I shook my head, unfazed. It's fine, we're already here. There was still a sting in my heart, but I knew time would dull the pain. My leg was fractured in the accident, and I just had the steel plate removed not long ago, so I only ordered a club soda. As I got up to go to the restroom, Victoria grabbed me. She was drunk, slurring her words as she pointed at me. "Sincere Clark, are you stalking me? You're disgusting, I'm not stalking you." She wasn't listening, dragging me back to her booth. In front of everyone, she imperiously ordered me, "You stalking me has really pissed me off. You will kneel and apologize. And then you will drink these 3 bottles of vodka." I refused. "I'm not drinking. My leg was just operated on for a fracture. I can't have alcohol." She glared at me. "Are you trying to disrespect me? You used to be able to hold your liquor like a champion. What's with the act now?" With that, she swayed her hips and sat in the lap of another man next to her, giving a subtle nod to someone behind me. Before I could react, I felt a vicious kick to the back of my knee. A jolt of agony forced me to my knees. The excruciating pain made my face turn pale, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. Victoria sneered. "You broke your leg? How come I don't know anything about that? Cut the crap drink up, and if I'm happy, we can keep our wedding date for next month." She had been in a coma for half a month after the crash, and from the moment she woke up, she rejected my presence. How would she have known about my injuries? The pain was so intense I couldn't speak. The man holding Victoria said sycophantically, "Vicky, his silence means he agrees. Come on, girls. Let's make him drink. He's dying to marry you, pleased." Victoria planted a kiss on his cheek. My Ethan always knows what's on my mind. Seeing their cue, her posse of friends grabbed the bottles and started pouring them down my throat. The harsh liquor made me choke and cough, my stomach churning violently. Someone took the opportunity to stomp on my leg. The sharp, intense pain nearly made me pass out. 3. In the chaos, Alex suddenly charged over, grabbing a bottle and swinging it toward Victoria. It missed her but connected squarely with the head of the toy boy holding her. Blood instantly gushed from the wound. "Victoria, are you even human?" Tormenting Sincere like this, Alex roared as he helped me up from the floor. Victoria shrieked, pointing a finger at me and screaming, "Sincere Clark, you dare have someone hit my boyfriend, you just wait." I gritted my teeth against the searing pain in my leg and looked at her coldly. "Victoria, didn't you lose your memory? How do you remember that I can hold my liquor?" She froze for a second, her eyes darting around. It just came back to me. Don't give me that crap. You hurt Ethan, and you're going to be responsible for it." As Alex helped me away, he started yelling at Victoria, "Victoria, if it wasn't for Sincere..." I cut him off, shaking my head weakly. "Let's go." Staying any longer would only make me feel more disgusted. Seeing her true colors, the last shred of affection I had for her vanished completely. I even started to wonder if all her affection for me before the accident had also been an act. At the hospital, the doctor examined my leg and sucked in a sharp breath. "This leg, what happened to it? The bone was just set, and now it's broken again, and it's severely displaced. You could be permanently disabled." He smelled the alcohol on me, and his brow furrowed even deeper. "And you've been drinking? Do you have a death wish?" Before I could explain, Victoria burst into the room. Doctor, quick. Come look at my baby. His head is split open. He's bleeding so much." The doctor irritably shook her hand off. "I'm examining this gentleman. Please wait. No waiting. He doesn't need to be seen. I'm his fiancée. I call the shots." Victoria interrupted him belligerently and tried to pull him away again. "Come on, my boyfriend is more important." The doctor was speechless. "If this gentleman's leg isn't treated properly, he could be crippled since you're his fiancée. Why weren't you with him when he came in?" Only then did Victoria notice my deathly pale face. She faltered, hesitating. Wasn't he just faking it?" The doctor was about to say more when Ethan let out an exaggerated groan. Victoria immediately rushed to his side, her heart aching. She grabbed the doctor and pulled him towards Ethan. "Doctor, quick bandage up my baby. I'm worried sick." Alex's face turned green with rage. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to confront them, but I held him back, shaking my head. "Let it be. Consider this the last thing I do for this relationship." I was wheeled into the operating room and endured the agony of having my bone reset once again. After the surgery, I was placed in a hospital room. Ethan's room was right next to mine. Every day I could hear Victoria and her friends chattering in his room, fussing over him. As for me, Victoria never once came to see me, not even on the day I was discharged. 4. I booked a flight to the US for a few days later. My parents had been urging me to come back and start dating. This whole farce had completely extinguished any lingering hope. It was time for a new beginning. I was packing my bags when Mrs. Davies called. "Young Master Sincere, Miss Miller says the wedding is on as scheduled. Has she regained her memory?" she asked cautiously. I was silent for a moment. I couldn't bring myself to be harsh with this kind old woman. "Maybe, Mrs. Davies. You don't need to worry about it." After hanging up, I contacted a real estate agent to sell the condo we bought for our marriage. I had designed and decorated the entire place myself. It was no longer needed. I couldn't be bothered to set foot in that house again, so I hired a cleaning service to clear everything out. Throw everything away except the furniture, including that huge wedding portrait in the living room. Half an hour later, the cleaning lady called me, sounding troubled. "Sir, there are people in the apartment." I asked them to leave, but they just yelled at me. I paused, reassured the woman, and then pulled up the security camera feed on my phone. On the screen, Victoria was frantically tapping at her phone. After a moment, she slammed it onto the sofa. Damn it, Sincere Clark actually blocked me. She couldn't understand why I had sent people to throw her things out. She felt a sense of losing control, a deep unease settling in her heart. She stormed towards the door, only to be caught in an embrace from behind by Ethan. "Vicky, don't go. Am I not more attractive to you?" he whispered, kissing her neck suggestively. Victoria turned, and they fell into a passionate kiss, more intense than any she and I had ever shared. As she unbuckled Ethan's belt, she teased, "You really are my little Teddy, always wanting it." Ethan asked breathlessly, "Vicky, who do you like more, me or Sincere Clark?" Victoria's face fell. She pouted, "Don't compare yourself to him. He's the one I have to marry." Ethan's eyes reddened. He wrapped his arms around her waist. "Then what about me? Are you still just playing with me? I even got hurt for you. Doesn't that count for more than him?" Victoria was so turned on by his words that stopping now would be unbearable. She cooed at him gently, "Silly boy. Before the wedding, you're the most important one." They continued their tryst, and Victoria, sated, made a promise. "Even after Sincere and I are married, I'll still see you." They frolicked without a care in the world on what was supposed to be our wedding bed. For the first time, I felt that maybe Victoria had never truly loved me at all. How could you love someone and be so cruel to them? I closed the surveillance app and gave the realtor full authority to handle the sale of the property. The next day, a new unknown account added me on social media. I ignored it, but he kept sending requests saying it was about Victoria. I was out buying gifts for my parents and was so annoyed by the constant notifications that I finally accepted. He immediately sent me a picture of his hand wearing my wedding ring, intertwined with Victoria's. Then came a video of their debauchery on the wedding bed from the night before. A woman can tell if a man's good in bed with just one try. "Sincere Clark, you don't seem to measure up. I tried out your wedding bed. It's not very comfortable. You should get a waterbed next time. Vicky would like that. By the way, Vicky even clings to me in her sleep. Does she cling to you? If I were you, I'd be buying performance enhancers and taking classes. A man who can't satisfy his woman is useless." Then he sent a transfer for $20,000. "Here's some money to buy a new bed. Take good care of us. Otherwise, if I'm not happy on the wedding day, you might not even get to be the groom." I rejected the transfer and replied coldly, Save the money for some kidney medication. Once she's fulfilled her 12 zodiac sign fantasy, you might need to buy some medicine for STDs. He tried to call me furious, but I immediately hung up and blocked him, remembering that the custom-made wedding gown and tuxedo upstairs hadn't been returned yet. I decided to take care of it. But when I got to the boutique, the staff told me with some difficulty that the suit and dress I had ordered were currently being tried on. Walking into the fitting area, I saw Ethan wearing the suit that was meant for me, preening in front of the mirror. I'm tall and well-built, and the suit was tailored to be slim and sharp, making me look exceptionally smart. On him, thin as a rail, the clothes hung loosely. He saw me, and far from being embarrassed, he spun around smugly. "Sincere, you're too fat. No wonder it took so long to tailor this." Victoria stood to the side, wearing the wedding gown I had chosen for her, her expression a little unnatural. "What are you doing here? Stalking me again? Didn't I tell you I'd marry you on the wedding day?" I looked her up and down. The full skirt and exquisite makeup did make her look beautiful, but in that moment, I couldn't find a trace of the feeling I once had for her. "There's no need. I don't want to get married anymore." Victoria's face changed. Remembering the suit on Ethan, she quickly tried to explain. "The suit is—" I held up a hand, cutting her off. "It's yours, a gift. It looks good on you." As I turned to leave, Victoria called out from behind me, "Don't be difficult. I will marry." "You remember to pick me up from the wedding house in 2 days." I walked out without looking back. 2 days from now? That's the day I fly to the US. What a coincidence. On the day of the wedding, Victoria, dressed in her gown and holding her friend's arm, arrived at the condo, laughing and chatting. But when she used her fingerprint to unlock the door, it wouldn't open. "What's going on?" She tried again, puzzled, but to no avail. Finally, she accidentally triggered the alarm, and a piercing sound echoed through the hallway. The door opened, and a man in pajamas poked his head out, asking impatiently, "Who are you? Why are you trying to open the door to my house?" 5. Victoria froze, pointing at the apartment behind the man, and said angrily, "This is my wedding house. What are you doing here?" The man looked utterly bewildered, waving the property deed in her face. "I just bought this place 2 days ago." "What do you mean, your wedding house? Are you crazy?" Victoria snatched the deed from his hand. She looked closely. The name on it was a stranger's. Her eyes widened in disbelief. She looked at the apartment number again. No, this was the right place. She panicked and quickly called my number, only to find she'd been blocked. Her clique gathered around, and someone else started trying to call me. "It's off? Try again. Still off? What's going on?" Sincere never turns his phone off. Victoria grabbed the phone. Staring at the dark screen, a sliver of unease crept into her heart. It was only then that she remembered, ever since I had moved out of her villa, I hadn't contacted her once. Before, even when she deliberately gave me the cold shoulder, I would send her messages every day, checking in on her. I'd share sweet memories from our past, trying to reawaken her memory. When she went out clubbing all night with her friends, I never questioned her. I would just quietly prepare a hangover remedy and leave it by her bedside the next morning. These past few days, when she posted videos of herself partying with her toy boys at bars in the middle of the night, I said nothing, as if I didn't care at all. And now, even the wedding house was sold. Victoria's head was spinning. She finally sobered up from her pre-wedding haze and realized that I might genuinely not want to marry her anymore. "Don't be silly, Vicky," one of her friends consoled her, though her own voice lacked conviction. "Sincere loves you so much. How could he not want to get married?" A wave of despair washed over Victoria, and she could barely stand. She had never imagined that I would actually give up on her, give up on our relationship. Had she gone too far? Victoria's clique started chattering, trying to comfort her, but in reality they were just fanning the flames. "Vicky, don't worry. Maybe Sincere is just throwing a tantrum. You know how men are. They love to play hard to get." "Exactly." Another friend in a tight dress chimed in. "He's probably hiding somewhere watching you, waiting for you to beg him to come back. When he does, you just act all high and mighty and make him grovel, Vicky." You're the most beautiful one in our group, the line of guys wanting to date you would. Stretch all the way to France if Sincere really doesn't want you. It's his loss listening to her friends. The color slowly returned to Victoria's pale face. She bit her lip, starting to believe that I was just trying to make a point. After all, he had loved her so much, treated her like a queen. How could he change so suddenly? The more she thought about it, the more it made sense, and a competitive streak flared up inside her. Who was she? Victoria Miller. She'd been the center of attention her whole life. When had she ever been so wronged? If Sincere wanted to play hard to get, then she would play along. Sincere Clark, you think I'm going to beg you? Victoria snorted, a cunning glint in her eye. If you don't show up, someone else will. She pulled out her phone and dialed Ethan Vance's number. Hello, Ethan. I need you to put on a groom's suit and meet me at the wedding house. Now. After hanging up, a triumphant smile spread across Victoria's face. 6. An hour later, Ethan, wearing the suit he had tried on earlier, arrived breathlessly at the condo. Seeing Victoria and her clique, he quickly straightened his collar. Vicky, are you planning to marry me? Ethan asked, a hint of hope in his eyes. Victoria didn't speak, just beckoned him with a finger. Ethan quickly followed her. Her friends had already set up live streaming equipment, ready to broadcast this wedding to the world. Vicky, are you sure you want to do this? One friend asked, sounding concerned. What if Sincere finds out? What's there to be afraid of? Victoria said dismissively. If he really cared about me, he'd be here right now to stop me if he doesn't have the guts to show up. It just proves he doesn't care about me at all. So why should I hold on to him? Once the live stream began, Victoria took Ethan's arm, putting on a show of blissful happiness for the camera. She spoke to the lens. Hello, everyone. Today is my and Ethan's wedding. Thank you all for your blessings. The two of them sat in the wedding car, heading to the venue. Victoria's gaze was glued to the window, desperately hoping to see me appear. But the journey was uneventful, with only the occasional passerby casting curious glances at the car. Some even offered their congratulations to Victoria and Ethan, praising them as a perfect match. Victoria just nodded distractedly. Beside her, Ethan took it all in, a bitter, almost imperceptible smile on his lips. He knew her heart wasn't in it. She was only doing this to provoke Sincere Clark. But even so, even if it just meant being a live-in son-in-law to the Miller family, he was willing. At the wedding venue, everything was a rushed and chaotic mess. The staff scrambled to take down all the materials printed with my name and photos and replace them with Ethan's. The meticulously planned ceremony schedule was altered on the fly, all to accommodate Victoria's absurd charade. In the live-stream chat, netizens were mocking them. This wedding looks so slapped together, doesn't it? Like they're just rushing it. That bride looks familiar. I think I've seen her somewhere. Holy crap, isn't that Victoria Miller, the Miller heiress? Doesn't she have a fiancé she's been with for years? I thought his last name was Clark. Why is there a different groom today? The comments flew by like snowflakes, filled with ridicule and suspicion. Victoria was oblivious to it all, her eyes anxiously scanning the crowd. But she never saw my face. Her expression grew darker and darker. Text him, tell him if he doesn't show up right now, I'm really going to marry someone else. Victoria hissed at a friend beside her, her voice tinged with hysteria. Vicky, calm down, her friend urged, worried. Calm down? How can I calm down? How can he not marry me? Victoria's eyes welled up, tears threatening to spill. Just then her parents, Robert and Helen Miller, arrived at the scene. Seeing the chaos, her father's face turned ashen with rage. What do you think you're doing? This is madness, absolute madness, switching grooms on your wedding day. You've brought shame upon the entire Miller family. Her mother tried to reason with her. Victoria, why are you doing this to yourself? Don't debase yourself, stay out of this. Victoria shoved her mother's hand away. Today I'm going to see if he ever really cared about me. She turned to her friend and asked urgently, did he text back? The friend shook her head. Victoria's heart sank to the pit of her stomach. Could it be? Did Sincere really not care about her anymore? The wedding march began to play. Mechanically, Victoria took Ethan's arm and walked, step by step, toward the stage. 7. Throughout the rest of the ceremony, Victoria wore a thunderous expression, as if someone owed her $1 million. She dodged Ethan's attempts to hold her hand several times. In the live chat, the comments continued. "What's with the bride? She looks more miserable than if her parents had died. Was she forced into this? That expression is suffocating to watch. I think she's waiting for someone. She keeps looking at the door." Victoria's gaze remained fixed on the wedding ring. I had designed it myself. The band was intricately carved with tiny paper cranes, the symbol of our love. Now it was being placed on another man's finger. During the ring exchange, Ethan looked at her with deep affection, his eyes conveying his love. Victoria was like a block of wood, her eyes vacant, offering no response. Just as the officiant was emotionally declaring them husband and wife, Victoria suddenly cut in. "Wait, I don't." The entire hall erupted in murmurs. The air seemed to freeze. The smile on Ethan's face was frozen in place. Victoria's parents looked livid, but Victoria felt as if a great weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She let out a long sigh of relief. She finally understood. She couldn't keep making this mistake. She still loved Sincere Clark, and if she went any further down this path, there would be no turning back. Without a second glance, she ran out of the venue, her wedding dress trailing on the ground. A few of her friends chased after her, chattering all at once. "Vicky, don't be impulsive. If you leave, that bastard Sincere will get exactly what he wants. Yeah, he's probably hiding somewhere, laughing at you. You can't let him win. You did all this for him, and he still didn't show up. What a scumbag." Victoria stopped and turned to face them, a look of confusion in her eyes. Is that really how you see him?" Her friends looked at each other, momentarily speechless. At that moment, on the other side of the world, I had just landed in the U.S. 8. "Well, look who it is. I can't believe you actually left the country. How long are you staying?" My friend Leo Wright, who came to pick me up, joked with a grin. I took my luggage and gave a faint smile. "Indefinitely. I'm here to start dating. Who knows, I might even get married here." Leo stared blankly, then exclaimed dramatically, "What the hell, are you serious? What about Victoria Miller? Weren't you head over heels for her, ready to rip your own heart out and give it to her?" From middle school through college, Victoria and I were the model couple. We went to class together, ate together, studied together, and planned our future together. All my friends envied our fairy tale romance. Some even came to me for advice on how to appease their angry girlfriends. Victoria would proudly hug me and say, "Just thinking about Sincere makes it impossible for me to stay mad. I don't even need him to apologize." Back then, I truly believed we were each other's one and only. But love is such a fragile concept. Even the woman who seemed to love me so deeply could cheat on me behind my back. She even deceived me, making me a witness to her infidelity. After the car accident, Victoria lost her memory, forgetting everything about me. The doctor called it dissociative amnesia, possibly because she was so terrified of losing me, so her subconscious chose to erase me. At the time, I was moved by the depth of her feelings. I sat by her bedside every day, telling her stories of our past, showing her old photos, trying to awaken her dormant memories. And all the while, she remembered everything but had me thrown out, watching me get my heart broken again and again. My voice was laced with self-mockery. I did rip it out. Unfortunately, she threw it on the ground. I would never again give her the chance to trample on my heart. He clapped me on the shoulder. "Bro, don't take it so hard," he said, trying to comfort me. "There are plenty of fish in the sea, no need to get hung up on one." I smiled but didn't say anything. I pulled out my phone. The screen showed over a dozen missed calls, all from Victoria's clique. In my messages, they were alternating between threatening that Victoria would marry someone else if I didn't show up, and snidely asking if I was hiding in some corner watching the live stream. One of the messages was a link to the stream. I clicked it. It was the live broadcast of Ethan and Victoria's wedding. On screen, Victoria was in a pure white wedding dress. The camera was right in her face, capturing every single tear. She was sobbing, haltingly telling the story of our love, which began in high school. From the sweet moments that once made my heart flutter to our life and death bond after the accident. Watching her dramatic performance, my stomach turned. Behind her, Ethan was pinned to the ground by several security guards in black suits, screaming his lungs out. "Vicky, I'm your groom. Can't we just finish the wedding? I'm the one who loves you the most." Victoria didn't even glance at him, continuing her heartfelt confession to the camera. "Sincere, I know you're watching. Please come back, okay? I love you. I've gotten my memory back. I don't know why I hurt you so much when I had amnesia. I'm so sorry. But all of that happened when I didn't know any better. I only went through with this wedding to force you to show up. Please come and see me, okay?" The live chat was filled with sentimental comments like, "She's so devoted, come on, leading man, show yourself, and she really loves him." I looked at the scrolling text and felt nothing but irony. If she truly loved me, she wouldn't still be putting on this act to deceive me. If she truly loved me, how could she have taken the doctor away when I was facing permanent disability, leaving me to my fate? And how could she have cheated on me again and again, playing me for a fool? 9. Victoria held up the wedding ring and continued to shout at the camera. "Sincere, do you remember our paper crane promise? I love you. Please give me a chance to make it up to you. Everything I did wrong was because of the amnesia." Leo frowned, pointing at the tear-streaked face of Victoria on the screen. "Sincere, old friend, are you sure there isn't some misunderstanding? She really looks like she still loves you." I remained silent, staring at the face I once adored, now feeling only disgust. Mrs. Davies should be arriving any moment. Sure enough, less than 2 minutes later, Mrs. Davies walked up, holding a small box with trembling hands. She said to Victoria, "Miss Miller, young Master Sincere asked me to give this to you. He said you'd need to see it at your wedding." Victoria's tears instantly turned to a smile. She snatched the box and, choking back sobs, said to the camera, "I knew it. I knew Sincere couldn't bear to leave me." The live chat immediately filled. With a wave of so moving and true love conquers all, I watched as she eagerly opened the box to reveal a USB drive inside, the corners of my mouth turning up. "Don't tell me he recorded a heartfelt confession for you?" one of her friends teased. "I want to see one." The chat was flooded with demands to see the video. Victoria's smile grew even sweeter. She handed the USB drive to her friend and pouted at the camera. "Sincere, after I watch this you'll appear, right? I was wrong these past few weeks. I promise I'll make it up to you." Watching her look of smug certainty on the live stream, my own smile widened. "So what's on the drive?" "Give me a hint, man," Leo asked, looking at me with suspicion. I chuckled and said one word, "a gift." On the big screen at the venue, the image flickered to life, showing a screenshot of the chat between Victoria and her friends. Victoria's line, "All right, girls, find me some new toy boys. Once I've slept my way through all 12 zodiac signs, I'll get married," was enlarged, and the audio played with crystal clarity. The atmosphere turned instantly bizarre. The smile on Victoria's face froze. Next, the screen switched to the scene of her and Ethan in the wedding house, high definition, uncensored, and utterly debauched. A stream of screenshots followed, showing all the provocative pictures and texts Ethan had sent me. Even after I blocked Ethan, he used other numbers to send me messages, constantly describing his sexual bliss with Victoria. Finally, a photo of their intertwined hands, both wearing our wedding rings, froze on the screen, completely shattering Victoria's final pretense. The live chat went dead silent for a moment, then exploded. "Whoa, what a plot twist. This is insane. What a two-faced schemer, and she acted so innocent. The hell, she had amnesia. Keep acting. Why'd you stop? Go on, Zodiac Queen." I watched Victoria's pale face and panicked eyes, a surge of satisfaction rising within me. "Sincere, this is all a misunderstanding. Victoria stammered, her voice trembling as she tried to explain. Victoria's parents shrieked for someone to turn off the video. The guards holding Ethan down rushed to the screen and yanked out the USB drive. The screen went black, but it couldn't hide the ghastly pallor of Victoria's face. Ethan took the opportunity to wrap his arms around Victoria, his expression one of deep devotion. "You see, Vicky, I'm the only one who truly loves you. Sincere Clark is just petty. You made a harmless joke, and he wants to get revenge on you. Stop thinking about him. He doesn't deserve you." The live chat was still scrolling wildly. Someone even commented, "The way she is, Sincere was right to leave her." That sentence pierced Victoria's heart, shattering her last bit of composure. "Get out, get the hell out." Victoria shoved Ethan away, screaming hysterically, "It's all your fault. All of it. It's because of you that Sincere doesn't want me anymore. Why did you have to seduce me?" She was like a mad woman, punching and kicking Ethan, as if trying to vent all her resentment on him. Ethan didn't try to dodge, letting her hit him while holding her tightly. He continued his loving confession. "I just couldn't stand seeing him have you, that boring old man. How could he possibly compare to me, Vicky? I'm the one who loves you most. Those two, they were a match made in hell. They deserved to torture each other." 10. Oblivious. Victoria's hands clamped around Ethan's neck as she shrieked, "It's all your fault. If you die, Sincere will come back. He loves me. How could you ever compare to him?" Ethan's face quickly turned crimson, his eyes filled with terror as he made gasping, choking sounds. But Victoria seemed possessed, her eyes vacant and vicious, as if she intended to strangle him to death. "Vicky, you're insane. Let go," one of her friends screamed, lunging forward to pry her hands off. Victoria grabbed the friend by the hair and threw her violently to the ground. "It's you. This was all your rotten idea." "Ah, my hair." The friend, now missing a handful of hair, shrieked. Not to be outdone, she lunged at Victoria, clawing at her face and leaving several bright red scratches. Another friend seized the moment to break Victoria's grip, finally freeing Ethan. He clutched his throat, gasping for air, his face still deathly pale. "Victoria Miller, don't think you can say whatever you want just because we worship you," the friend yelled, pointing a finger at Victoria. "Faking amnesia and cheating was your idea. You were the one who told us to find you men, and what about forcing us to pour alcohol down Sincere's throat right after his accident? That was your idea too, wasn't it? Using amnesia as an excuse. You're just a malicious, evil woman." Her friend's words hit Victoria like a sledgehammer. She froze, flashes of memory flickering through her mind. "Sincere, his leg." Victoria's voice trembled, almost a whisper. She grabbed Mrs. Davies, who was standing nearby, silently weeping, and asked desperately, "Was his leg broken in the accident?" Mrs. Davies looked at her, her eyes filled with pity and helplessness, and nodded gently. "Young Master Sincere's leg was very badly broken, but he still watched over your bedside every day. After you woke up, he was afraid you'd worry, so he asked us not to tell you. But he walked with such a pronounced limp, you should have noticed." Victoria stood as if struck by lightning, rooted to the spot. Back then, she had been so focused on faking her amnesia she hadn't paid any attention to my condition. She covered her face and sank to the ground, sobbing her heart out. "Vicky." Ethan cautiously approached her, wanting to offer comfort. "Get out." Victoria's eyes were filled with disgust. "Get out of my sight. I never want to see you again." Terrified by the hatred in her eyes, Ethan backed away, not daring to get any closer. The farce ended with Victoria's complete breakdown. 12. Victoria became infamous. The internet was flooded with news about her. They called her Zodiac Queen and Time Management Master of the Year. People even went to her family's company website and left comments like, "Are your products also arranged by the 12 zodiac signs?" The scandal caused the Miller Group stock to plummet. My parents began eagerly arranging dates for me. The first meeting was set for a park, but the heavens had other plans, and a torrential downpour started out of nowhere, so we never met. The second time, we were supposed to meet at a high-end restaurant. Just as I arrived, a fire broke out in the kitchen, filling the place with thick smoke. We had to reschedule again. The third time, we arranged to meet at a coffee shop. I thought to myself, third time's the charm. If something went wrong this time, I was just going to give up. I waited in the coffee shop for nearly an hour, but she still hadn't shown up. I sighed, about to get up and leave, when a woman in a black power suit with a powerful, sophisticated aura hurried over. "I'm so sorry I'm late," she said apologetically, though her eyes held a hint of barely concealed panic. I looked up at her. She had long, wavy hair, flawless makeup, and seductive red lips. "It's fine. I just got here myself," I lied, for reasons I didn't quite understand. "I was in a small car accident. It held me up," she explained, her tone light, as if it were nothing more than a minor scrape. "What? Are you okay?" I asked with concern, though I couldn't help but think, "Another car accident? Is this some kind of curse?" "I'm fine. Just a dent in the car's front end," she said with a smile. "For a second, I thought I wouldn't get to meet you." "I thought so too," I blurted out, then realized my mistake and gave an awkward laugh. She didn't seem to mind at all. In fact, her smile brightened. "All good things are worth waiting for. I think we must have some sort of destiny." Her gaze was intense, almost invasive, and I felt myself blushing. "My name is Rachel Peterson," she said, extending her hand in a confident introduction. "Sincere Clark." I took her hand. It was soft and warm, sending a strange jolt through me. 13. My dates with Rachel went surprisingly smoothly. She was well-spoken and graceful, and she got along wonderfully with my parents, as if she were destined to be a part of our family. My parents' approval of Rachel was obvious, and they kept hinting that I should lock things down. My own feelings for her grew with every meeting. I started planning my proposal. Imagining us walking down the aisle together filled my heart with a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time. Everything was ready, just waiting for the right moment. But on the very day I planned to propose, Victoria showed up. She grabbed my arm, her voice on the verge of tears. "Sincere, I've been looking everywhere for you." She was wearing a loose-fitting dress, and her stomach was slightly rounded. I instinctively took a step back, putting distance between us. Rachel seemed to notice something was off, but she just smiled elegantly and asked, "Sincere, who is this?" Only then did Victoria notice Rachel. She looked her up and down, a flash of jealousy in her eyes. "Who are you?" I gently wrapped my arm around Rachel's shoulder, my voice firm. "My fiancée, and soon, my wife." Victoria looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, her face instantly draining of color. Then, "What about me? What am I? Don't you love me anymore?" I scoffed. "You? You're just a dark chapter from my past." "Sincere, how can you say that?" Victoria tried to say more, but I cut her off mercilessly. "What? Did you finally collect all 12 zodiac signs, feeling needy even during your pregnancy? In your condition, how do you still have the nerve to try and win me back? It's over between us, Victoria. The more you bother me, the more disgusted I feel." My tone was ice-cold, devoid of any emotion. The light in Victoria's eyes dimmed, and she wilted under my cold gaze. She covered her face and ran away. I turned back to Rachel and said gently, "I'm sorry you had to see that." Rachel smiled and shook her head, indicating it didn't matter. I got down on one knee again, looked at Rachel, and asked once more, "Will you marry me?" Rachel's eyes welled with tears. She held out her hand for me to put the ring on her finger. "I will." I pulled her into a tight embrace, my heart overflowing with joy. The wedding went on as planned. Victoria stood in a corner among the guests. Ethan Vance stood beside her, gripping her wrist tightly, a nervous look on his face. I heard from a friend that Victoria, overcome with emotion, had fainted at her own wedding and been rushed to the hospital. The tests revealed she was 2 months pregnant. She had no idea who the father was. Worse, due to her health, she couldn't terminate the pregnancy. To save face, her parents forced her to marry Ethan. I heard their married life was a chaotic mess of constant fighting. When I heard the news, I just smiled faintly. She was reaping what she sowed. During the wedding toasts, I tried my best to avoid her, but it was inevitable. She walked towards me, holding a glass, swaying slightly. Ethan followed her, step for step, like a prison guard. Her eyes were filled with tears, her voice choked with emotion. "Sincere, I regret it. I never should have lied to you." She stared at me, her gaze filled with remorse and pain. I took a step back, keeping my distance. "Regret is the most useless thing in the world, Victoria. Don't show your face here again." Tears streamed down her cheeks, and she opened her mouth to say more. But Ethan suddenly spoke up, his tone mocking. "Don't think you've won, Sincere Clark. I'm the one who married Victoria. You'll always be the loser." Victoria spun around and slapped Ethan across the face. "Get lost, you may have my body, but you'll never have my heart." Ethan's face turned livid. He grabbed her wrist and practically dragged her out of the reception hall. I raised my glass and continued to chat and laugh with the guests, as if the little interruption had never happened. Rachel was on my arm, looking especially beautiful today. She was like a glittering diamond, captivating everyone's attention. I leaned in and whispered in her ear, "They really are a perfect match for each other. And so are we." Rachel covered her mouth and giggled, her eyes sparkling with a bewitching charm.